Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome. This is the Monday Power Hour, taking your questions, your comments, your calls. 803-500-1485. That's 803-500-1485. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in as we react to everything that took place over the weekend. A wild weekend of SEC football officially in the books. And guys, we've hit the halfway point, believe it or not. Week 7 has concluded. We're turning our attention to week 8. We have hit the halfway point of the 2024 SEC and college football season, which is crazy. Time flies when you're having fun, but again, tons to react to, and I do want to hear from each and every single one of you. 803-500-1485. You can also leave us a comment on Facebook, YouTube, X, wherever you're consuming this show. We would love to hear from you and get your thoughts and your feedback. And, of course, right on cue, Panic Ritter says Shane Beamer needs to go. I mean, right on cue. Glad to see you chipper as ever, Panic Ritter. Again, we got lots to get into here on this Monday, guys. We'll go for about an hour or so. We've been going nonstop today, getting after it, getting into the week. Of course, got back from Baton Rouge late last night. We've been recording previews all morning. We'll get those out to you later today on YouTube, podcast, all that good stuff. And again, guys, Mondays and Tuesdays are always crazy for us on the schedule. But hey, as I like to say, being busy is a blessing, and certainly feel blessed here on this Monday after what has been an incredible stretch of football for yours truly over the last couple of weeks. So again, guys, would love to talk all that, much more with you here on this Monday afternoon. 803-500-1485. That's 803-500-1485. And the phone lines are now officially open. Like I mentioned, guys, you want to text that number, you can do so as well. You can call that number, or again, leave us a comment on Facebook, YouTube, or X. Guys, I want to start off by saying this. Thank you to the fine folks of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Thank you to all of those at LSU that made this past weekend such an incredible experience. I don't want to be that guy that has recency bias every single Monday, but guys, what an incredible time. More on that in just a second. Let's go ahead and jump to the phone line.
Call from
Alex.
Alex, what's going on, man? You're on the air.
What's going on, Chris? How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, man. How are you?
I'm doing well. I got a quick question for you on Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
They've been close to pass. Well, they passed, but with Alabama and LSU, what do you see as their potential upset games for the rest of the year?
Yeah, it's a great question, man, and they have been close. I mean, I think South Carolina, there's been a lot of things, from a positive standpoint to cling to and be excited about. I mean, you can look at it one of two ways, right? It's especially when you go on the road to Tuscaloosa, to be that close is encouraging. It's also heartbreaking, obviously, to get to the end of games and find ways to lose them. But, I always looked at that game against Texas A&M in a few weeks at Williams-Brice Stadium as, I think, a game that South Carolina – I mean, listen, here's the thing. In this year of college football, dare I say, I look at the remainder of their schedule, I don't think there's a game they just flat out can't win. You know what I mean? Like, I think anybody who's insinuating that, I mean, you've got the Oklahoma game. I think this Oklahoma game is massively important. I think this is one of your more winnable games you have left. Oklahoma is obviously a bit of a mess themselves, and I think it's probably going to be a defensively dominated game Saturday in Norman. Tough because it's in Norman, but I think it's an extremely winnable game for South Carolina. But, A&M at home at night in that building, I like the Gamecocks' chances before the season even started. I think I picked South Carolina over the summer to win that football game, so I think that one's winnable. Vandy obviously is going to be a really interesting challenge now. The Commodores are for real.
Yeah.
But even like Missouri at home, I mean, listen, I know that what the past couple of years have been, but I think that's a very winnable game. Clemson's a winnable game. I know it's at their place, but, in a rivalry game, I think it's winnable. So it's going to be really interesting to see how South Carolina finishes up over this last month and a half or so, because, again, they've been knocking on the door. They've been close. We're in an interesting part of the season as you sit 3-3, 1-3 in conference. Like, which direction does this thing go?
Yeah. The thing with it is if you looking at everybody's predictions for the at the beginning of the season, and really you're kind of sitting right where everyone thought you'd be at. So, I mean, all your goals are still right there in front of you. It's just which team are you going to pick off in the middle of the year.
Yeah, no, I would agree 100%. It's just for South Carolina at some point finishing the job and coming up clutch and winning one of these big games. So, and I think they can do it. Obviously, it's just, you know, I mean, it's tough. It is tough. So there'll be opportunities, though, down the stretch, no doubt.
One last thing, and I'll let you go. I love that I know there's not a single person calling for the DC's head now, like last year.
I think absolutely, as they should not be. I mean, I think you know, listen, they upgraded the personnel, right? Like the front seven, they vastly upgraded that group. So, you know, was Clayton White ever as bad as, you know, maybe people wanted to make him out to be? Maybe not. I mean, I just think it's a results-oriented business, and when the defense is doing what it was doing, it was hard to anything to feel good about. But, I mean, again, they completely upgraded that front seven. And, I mean, it's showing, man. Kennard, Stewart, they're fantastic players. And, you know, that defense is a force this year. There's no question.
Yeah. It's nice to see. But I think Kennard could actually break Clowney's record.
Yeah.
He's right on pace for it.
Yeah, which is crazy. Which is absolutely crazy when you think about the kind of season he's having, man. It's wild. Two more sacks in that game against Alabama with 3 tackles for loss. So he's been all over the place.
Oh, yeah. Well, Chris, I appreciate it. I'm going to hop off. You have a good one.
Hey, I appreciate you, man. Thanks so much for the call, Alex. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Really good stuff there from Alex. And, yes, certainly. I mean, I got to be honest. I did not think it was going to be as close as it was. I thought Alabama was going to absolutely roll South Carolina. I thought they would bounce back and give South Carolina a lot of credit, man. I mean, I think you could look at that game, maybe argue they should have won that game. So, I mean, you know, it is interesting how South Carolina is getting everybody off of these bounce back opportunities, right? Like they're playing, you know, even Oklahoma just lost to Texas. So it's, you know, when you play people, where you play people, it's just as important, you could argue, as who you play. My man Matt Beard comments, how was Baton Rouge? Matt, thank you for asking, because I do want to expand on this. Man. Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I've been getting questions since we got home yesterday of, you know, was it as good as advertised? Was it as loud? Like I mentioned, and Matt, I'll say this. I don't want to be someone that, you know, sounds like a broken record every Monday and have extreme recency bias where, like, that was unlike anything I've ever experienced, or like this was the best, the baddest. The truth is, though, all of these SEC venues, they are all special and they are all incredible in their own unique ways. Like every stadium's different. The fan bases are all incredible. The people have been great. The games have been electric. I mean, think about the last 3 weeks, guys, what we've witnessed. Alabama, Georgia, and Tuscaloosa. Tennessee, Arkansas, and Fayetteville. And then this game in Death Valley, LSU. I mean, gosh, 3 weeks in a row. 3 weeks in a row, we have witnessed in person a game that literally came down to the final play. Came down to the final play. You think about how crazy that is. That being said, guys, I will tell you this about Death Valley, about Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I've been to Bryant-Denny Stadium. I've experienced Williams-Brice. I've been on the field at Jordan-Hare. I've called the Pigs in Fayetteville. I can now say that I've been to Death Valley. I can now say I have experienced Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And guys, I'm not just saying this. I'm not just saying this. There is nothing like a Saturday night in Death Valley. I have never, not just as a college football fan, I have never as a sports fan experienced what I experienced this past weekend in the great state of Louisiana. I mean, everything about it. Guys, listen, I'll be transparent. And judge me for it, say whatever you want. I can't even explain why. But it was crazy. We got into the building about 20 minutes, 30 minutes before kickoff. And with the pregame festivities and everything taking place and just the beauty and the majesty of, I mean, that is the peak of college football there at Death Valley. I was emotional in pregame. I was emotional in pregame because it just hit me like, wow, how fortunate we are to live this life and to be in these situations and to be at these games and surrounded by these people. I was literally emotional in pregame. Tears swelling up in my eyes because of just the beauty of what it was we were taking in. That place was a madhouse start to finish. Guys, I've never heard a college football stadium as loud as what I've heard Death Valley on Saturday night. I've never in my entire life heard a stadium and felt a stadium like that one. There's nothing like it. Simply put, bottom line, I can go into great detail about the people, the food, the in-game, theatrics, the music, the in-stadium traditions. By the way, the in-stadium traditions are as good as I've ever seen. They're probably the best I've ever seen. What LSU does in stadium. Now, listen, it's a nightmare if you're an opponent. I can confirm you don't want to be in that building wearing the colors of the visitor. You will not have a good time. You will not. I'm going to tell you right now, you will not. But, man, I mean, if you've never experienced it, guys, I'm telling you, get to Death Valley. Get to Baton Rouge because Louisiana is unlike anything you've ever experienced. Like, with all due respect to all the other venues, you go to Alabama and you go to Auburn and you go to Georgia and you go to South Carolina and like they've all got their similarities. And I'm not saying there aren't some similarities at LSU, but it is just so different. Louisiana is a one of one. Baton Rouge is a one of one. Death Valley is a one of one. So I can't say thank you enough to the great folks at LSU, all the people I interacted with and hung out with and made the experience what it was. I can't say thank you enough. And again, recency bias be damned. It's almost hard for me to put into words what that experience was like. One of one. The best college football environment, college football stadium, the best atmosphere I've ever witnessed in person. There's nothing like Death Valley on a Saturday night in Louisiana. There's just nothing like it, man. It is a one of one, incredible. So thank you all so much, man, again, for the love. I challenge every other place I go to live up to that. I mean, really, truly, I do. I'm all the other venues are great, man. They really are. They really are. But man, that was incredible. I mean, that was the intensity and the energy in that building was just insane. Absolutely insane. Let's see. Matt Beard. LSU sports as a whole are an experience, a religion. Even if it isn't your religion, you can feel the spirituality in that place with those who worship. Matt, that's a great way to put it. That's a great way to put it. That's a great way to put it, man. I mean, it was a spiritual experience. I'll put it that way. As crazy as that may sound to some folks, LSU, it is not a football game. It is a spiritual experience being down there on the bayou. It really is. So, guys, phone lines are back open. 803-500-1485. That's 803-500-1485. Kyle Reynolds, Florida's defense played well enough to win that game. If Graham doesn't get hurt, I think we do. Defense played lights out for 3 quarters, and offense is finally catching a rhythm for that injury. Yeah, it's really unfortunate. We got the news, Kyle, today. Graham Mertz out for the season. This is now DJ Lagway's team. The DJ Lagway era has begun. Was not surprised to see that as a close game, though. That rivalry, it never disappoints, man. Never disappoints. Let's jump to the phone lines here.
Call from
Robbie Davis, Zaxby's Hall of Famer.
Robbie, what's going on, man? How are you? You're on the air.
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing? How's the family doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great,
good?
man. Everybody's great. Everybody's great. Appreciate you asking.
First things first, we had chances to win that game Saturday. Our defense, our front four definitely kept us in that game. And I do believe that if our offense was worth a darn, okay, although we have had times where we've looked good, but if our offense was actually able to move the ball, I definitely think we could have gotten the field goal and won the game Saturday, but we didn't.
Yeah, I mean, it was a heck of a game, man. I'll be honest with you. I didn't expect it to be that close. I didn't expect it to be that close.
I honestly thought Alabama was going to beat us like a government mule. I was like, it's probably going to be 40-0 before halftime. That was my thought going into this game. I was like, we're probably going to get killed. But I think Saturday definitely proved that our front four is legit. The fact that we went into Alabama and only lost by 2, we were supposed to lose by 21.5. That definitely proved that we've got the right guys at the right positions on the defense. It's just our offense is not up to snuff just yet. And I watched the Oklahoma-Texas game, and because I was scouting Oklahoma, obviously. I definitely think that Oklahoma is a game that we can definitely win because they could not stop Texas's short passing game to save their life.
Yeah, but I think this is a game for South Carolina, Robbie, you desperately need to have. I would say the first thing going on the road in an SEC environment like Oklahoma, is Oklahoma great? No, but you can't turn the football over 4 times. You can't fumble it 3 times, lose 3 fumbles. You can't do it. So it'll be another. Exactly. Listen, it'll be a different challenge. Oklahoma's defense is far, far better than what Alabama's fielding right now, which sounds crazy to say, but we just got to be, we've got to call it for what it is when it comes to, again, what Alabama is.
When the opportunities represent themselves, we've got to score touchdowns and not field goals.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree.
And a quick shout out to an old friend of ours, Rouge. She's getting married this weekend, so shout out to her.
Wow, really? Very nice. Very nice.
So, but everything's good on my end.
Love to hear it, Robbie.
I gained a little bit of the weight back that I lost, but I'm gonna work on that.
I'm glad you're doing well, Robbie. And I mean, again, we got a heck of a finish for the season incoming. So it'll be interesting to see if South Carolina can kind of pull through and win some of these big games.
Yeah, for sure. But I'll as always, I'll message you on Facebook and give you my prediction on Thursday.
Love to hear it, Robbie. I appreciate that, man. It's always a pleasure to hear from you.
You too, buddy. You have a good one.
Yeah, man. You too. We'll talk. Really good stuff. Robbie Davis calling in. Yeah. Close game in Tuscaloosa, man. Close game in Tuscaloosa. Again, want to take your questions, your comments, calls as well. 803-500-1485. Bevo's Bodyguard says OU's defense is vastly overrated. Here's the thing. I think you give a lot of – I give more of the credit to Texas, less of I'm taking away that Oklahoma's defense is not good. I think they've got some ball players on the defensive side. They got NFL bodies. I think Texas is just a different beast, man, a different animal. We've actually, Bevo's too, we're going to drop our preview for that Texas-Georgia game a little bit later today. Would you believe me if I told you all 3 of us at SEC Unfiltered, myself, Cole Thompson, Dave Shoemate, we all got Texas winning that game. Maybe that's not what's surprising, though. We've all got Texas winning that game by double digits. I think Texas – I've got my doubts with Georgia, man. I know they're going to be motivated. Kirby Smart is a master motivator, but I just think Texas right now is a more complete team. I think the whole – the conversation we were having in the preseason about, can Texas hang in there and win a street fight with Georgia and push them around? I got to be honest. I'm more worried about Georgia getting pushed around at this point, especially with some of the injuries they have on the line of scrimmage. Some of the questions I have about their defense. I mean, I've got Texas beating Georgia by 11, 38-27. I think Texas gets it done. I think right now it's Texas and probably everybody else in the SEC, and I think the Longhorns are going to show that this weekend in Austin. I like Texas in this game before the season even began. Based off what I've seen, there's nothing to change that. Only I feel stronger about that pick, to be honest with you. So I got Texas winning. I got Texas by double digits, 38-27. I think Quinn Ewers outduels Carson Beck. I got to see Carson Beck. Dude, this game Saturday, on that note, this is a massive game for Carson Beck. Like, at some point, you got to go win a big game. Carson Beck's got to go win a big football game. Like, when's the last time Georgia won a big game and we looked at it and said, Carson Beck was the reason? He's the headline of he's why Georgia came through. It's a money game for both quarterbacks, Quinn Ewers and Carson Beck. The stage is set, boys. Who's going to show up? Who's going to shine? Carson Beck has got to come through and be that dude for Georgia if they're going to have a shot in this one. So, yeah. Let's see. Joe K. Multiple sports books have Texas minus 3.5 for Georgia. I don't know. Think it's a pick 'em. What's interesting, Joe, though, is that Georgia, from what I've seen, opened up as a 1-point favorite, and it swung all the way to Texas minus 3.5. So let's jump to the phone lines here.
Call from. To accept, press 1.
Let's see. What's going on? You're on the air.
Just want to get your thoughts on South Carolina, Bama. But do you think Shane Beamer's the right guy for South Carolina?
You know, I've been getting asked that a lot. I do think Shane Beamer's the right guy for South Carolina. Now, I mean, again, is he immune to the pressures of, you know, you're winning and losing football games? He's not immune to what the results are of losing football games, but I mean, do I think he's the right fit there? Yeah, I absolutely think so. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think a loss to Alabama proves he's not the right fit at South Carolina. But, you know, I mean, listen, a game that came down to the wire, you definitely feel like you missed an opportunity to pull a big-time upset and take advantage, I think, of a reeling Crimson Tide team. So, you know, the self-inflicted wounds, the turnovers, I know that's the thing you're going to look back and, you know, and really be kicking yourself for. Because, again, you had every opportunity to win that game.
I guess also because, like, the LSU game, it was sort of the same thing. I know a lot of people, like, blame the refs, but they also did shoot themselves in the foot with some stupid penalties that did cost them the game, that game.
Yeah.
You know, you're that close to winning both of those games. You probably should have beat both the teams. You could be 5-1, you know, like what I think there would be like 3-0 in that SECU or whatever. But yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, it's those, like to your point, it's those self-inflicted wounds, man, that drive you crazy. And it's just, you know, I say a young team, but, you know, we're halfway through the season now. So it's just, you know, we're seeing it week in, week out, man. It's the team that makes more of those little mistakes. You know, teams find ways to win games, find ways to lose them. Most teams find ways to lose games. And that's, unfortunately, in those two big ones, as well as South Carolina has played at times, they have found ways to lose those football games. So I think this Oklahoma game, man, is massive. I think this is a massive game to kind of set the tone for the rest of your season. You know, even with Bama reeling, I don't think Oklahoma is quite the challenge that a Bama was or certainly an Ole Miss was, you know, a week and a half or so ago. So the Oklahoma game feels like one you really need to get.
Yeah, I feel like they'll get it. I think so.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I was kind of surprised to see them favored by Vegas, but I mean, yeah, in Norman, I mean, you know, they're looking for a bounce back too. So we'll see. Hey, I appreciate the call, man. Thanks so much for chiming in. Really good stuff, guys. 803-500-1485. I want to get to my guy, Luke RJ here. Appreciate you tuning in, Luke. What's your prediction for South Carolina 6 games? Here's the thing, Luke. It is so hard to project, you know, like a 6-game stretch right now in college football. I mean, it really is. It feels virtually impossible. But South Carolina, they feel like you know, right at a 5-7 or 6-6 team. I mean, that's kind of they kind of feel like that. Wofford's a win for South Carolina. That puts you at 4. But I mean, you know, I think right at 6-6. I think right at 6-6 feels about right. You know, going 3-3. I think they're either 2-4 or 3-3. I'd be surprised if they finish better than 6-6, but they're kind of right where y'all thought they would be. So, let's see. Michael Anthony Osborne, Oklahoma will be 1-3 in conference play come Saturday. Yeah, it's got to be I mean, it's a must win for OU. Braden says, as an Oklahoma fan, I see them winning one more game this year, and every other one I see as a loss. I mean, again, I get it. It's the Monday after you just got beat down by your rival Texas. Guys, I would say this. Everybody tried to warn Oklahoma about what they potentially could be. Offensive line struggles, quarterback struggles. It's just not a good recipe for success. when you're taking on the SEC, that SEC slate, that SEC schedule. So let's see. I want to go to this comment. Peanut BR Posse. We may see a team like LSU or A&M win it all with 2 losses. I think, like the NFL, it's going to come down to matchups and coaching. Nobody is going to overwhelm anybody with talent. I will say, this feels like the most wide-open year of college football that we've had in quite some time. Quite some time. I mean, it is truly, truly wide open. Truly wide open. Let's see. Again, you guys, 803-500, 1485. We're taking your questions, your comments. You can also comment on X, Facebook, YouTube, everything in between. Previews for Week 8 start dropping later today. Really excited to talk all the games again. We've already started doing so. Texas, Georgia, the premier matchup. We will be in Knoxville, Tennessee this weekend for Tennessee and Alabama. Cannot wait to experience a game day at Neyland. Going to be an absolute blast. Again, can't say thank you to the fine folks of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. LSU was absolutely incredible. LSU was incredible, man. Was absolutely incredible. Can't say thank you enough. Let's see. Rasta Man says, I think right now Georgia's about as good as Bama was when we beat them by 10 in Tuscaloosa last season. We're better this year in playing them at home, so I say we win by 17 on Saturday night. I mean, I'll tell you this. Everything lines up for Texas to do just that. I've got as much respect as anybody for Kirby Smart and that program. And the dude he's a master motivator, one of the best in the business. Guys, I think it's just as simple as Texas is a better football team top to bottom right now than Georgia. Like, Georgia's got their own slew of issues. Do you know Georgia is 15th out of 16 SEC teams in sacks this season? What has happened with Georgia's defensive line? What has happened with Georgia's defensive front? I mean, I don't know, guys. It's just one of those things where Georgia's got as many issues as we've seen them had in quite some time. And I think for Texas, this is going to be the biggest test they faced all year. There's no doubt. But like before the season started, I felt like, man, like Georgia, I don't know if Texas is ready to beat Georgia in a street fight. Now I'm questioning, is Georgia ready to beat Texas in a street fight? I don't know. I don't know that they are. This game could absolutely get away from Georgia on Saturday. I think it absolutely could. Night game in Austin, too. That place is going to be an absolute zoo. I think Texas is the pick in this game, guys. And so many are going to be very few are going to pick Georgia. That's what really, really scares me. That's what really scares me. But, man, Texas just feels like the right pick, guys. Texas feels like the right pick to me. And I think Texas by double digits very well could happen. D. Thompson, Oklahoma wouldn't be winning winning games even in the Big 12. Oklahoma being horrible has nothing to do with the SEC. LOL. I mean, you might make a good point, Thompson. I mean, they've got real issues on their football team for sure. I mean, they're a middling SEC football team this year. They're a middling SEC football team. So they are a middling SEC football team. Guys, again, I want to say thank you so much to all those in Baton Rouge that made our trip down to LSU so special. I have never in my life, as a college football fan or a sports fan in general, experienced anything like what I experienced Saturday night in Death Valley and really throughout the entire weekend down in the great state of Louisiana. It's just different, man. It's one of one. Loudest stadium, best environment. I mean, it was an experience that I struggle to put into words. That place was incredible. I mean, guys, for the first time all season, and I can't even explain why this happened, I was moved nearly to tears in pregame just because of like the beauty of what it was we were taking in and the pregame festivities. And, you know, it just hit me of, man, like how lucky and how fortunate are we to be here to be experiencing this firsthand. It was an experience that was moving, and it goes far beyond sports. It was a spiritual experience in Death Valley, in Baton Rouge on Saturday night. It was unlike anything I have ever felt in a stadium. It was unlike anything I've ever experienced, man. Cheers to you. Cheers to Baton Rouge. Cheers to the great folks of LSU. An experience truly one of one. So, let's see. Let's go to Cody. Cody, can't wait to get to Knoxville this weekend, my guy. Didn't leave the game Saturday feeling great about my Vols. Is that an overreaction or valid? Also feel for Graham and Peely. Both had season-ending injuries. Yeah, the season-ending injuries suck, man. Those injuries suck. Is it an overreaction or valid to not be feeling great about Tennessee? I think the concerns about the offense, the concerns with Nico maybe, you need to see them get in gear, but listen, man, it's a hard-fought rivalry game. I mean, listen, that was your 4th win over Florida in the last 21 years. Is it valid to have some concerns about what Tennessee is? Sure. But also, you take that victory and you run, my friend. You take that victory and you run. No question. I mean, it just hasn't happened enough, I think, to not be appreciative of getting a win against your rival in Florida. So, again, I will say this, Cody. All of these venues we've been to have been special, and they've been incredible in their own way. I cannot wait to get to Neyland. I cannot wait to experience Neyland firsthand, have heard so many great things. I've been to the great city of Knoxville, obviously. I've been to the city of Knoxville, and it's going to be a really, really cool experience in Knoxville. It's been a really cool experience in Knoxville, just from the standpoint of that, a lot of the inspiration for SEC Unfiltered and what we're doing, a lot of it came from the folks in Knoxville, Tennessee. More on that later in the week. I'm really, really excited, man. Really, really excited to get back up there and again, take in a game. So, let's see. Michael Anthony Osborne Sr., it's embarrassing to run up a conference for 25 years to not even be able to put up 200 yards of offense. Outright embarrassing. As a donor, not happy at all. I would agree it's tough. I would agree it's tough. So it's you got to get the offense fixed. I don't know what Seth Luttrell is doing. I don't know what Seth Luttrell is up to. I really don't. Probably going to have to be a change at that OC spot for Oklahoma. Kemper Keenan, your choices of games to attend have been freaking magical. USC, LSU, Alabama, Georgia, Arkansas, Tennessee, LSU, Ole Miss. What's so funny, Kemper, you're the man, by the way. I appreciate you. Much love, my friend. What's so funny is this year started out with a couple snoozers. Florida, Miami, right? Wasn't a good game. Tennessee, NC State was a blowout. I'm like, man, we might, I don't know what's going on. And then obviously we kicked it into gear with, even Auburn, Arkansas, which, Auburn, Arkansas wasn't the barn burner we've seen the last couple, but it was still a solid game. But listen, to your point, Kemper, to your point, we've seen, you mentioned it, we've seen 4 games this year that have been decided on the final play, essentially. We stay so, I'm running around like crazy, obviously, Kemper and everybody else. We're going 1,000 miles an hour, and we absolutely love it. But, you don't really get time to sit down and reflect, and we stay so busy and try to stay in the moment. It's going to be really, really cool, man, at season's end to, look back and just be like, man. And again, I try to stay present. I do stay present moment as much as I can. And, I understand the gravity of what we're doing, and I have perspective and gratitude in all those moments. But, it's super cool to reflect when it sets in, man, how cool is this? You know what I mean? How sick is this? How sick is this? It's just, it's hard to put it into words, guys. It's really, truly, genuinely, it's hard to put it into words. And I'm beyond grateful and thankful. And again, just can't say thank you enough. So, Luke RJ, Have you commented on the wins by Vandy? Beat Bama, now Kentucky, not sure who they play next, but they can beat almost anybody except the top two teams. So Luke RJ, yeah, you got to give a lot of credit to Vanderbilt. What Clark Lee has done, I think you could argue he should get SEC Coach of the Year. I mean, why not? Why not? What he's done, it's incredible. So they've got Ball State this weekend. So Vanderbilt, barring madness, which welcome to the 2024 season, there is madness. They're going to win again. And then they got Texas coming to their home field. Guys, I'm just going to say this. Listen, it's not totally decided, but don't tempt me to go to Nashville in 2 weeks. Don't tempt me to go to Nashville to watch Vandy, Texas in that building. Don't tempt me with a good time. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. The opportunity to get to Nashville, don't tempt me with a good time. We'll see. We got to figure out the schedule. We'll see. But I don't know, man. Would be a ripping good time indeed. No question. Guys, again, 803-500-1485. That's 803-500-1485. Taking your questions, your comments, your reactions to everything that took place in Week 7, and we can also look ahead to Week 8. By the way, guys, just to give you guys an update, exciting week of content. Of course, we got all of our game previews, power rankings, everything we normally do. But this week, we have officially hit the halfway point of the 2024 season. I think Wednesday, yours truly, we're going to drop a midseason report card. Midseason report card on the 2024 season. Going to be a really good time. Going to be a lot of fun. Y'all stay tuned for that. Going to be grading each and every single SEC team on how they fared through the first half of the season. Michael Anthony Osborne Sr. says, last comment before I just listen. I do appreciate you as my non-biased source. Glad to have come across the three of you. Michael Anthony Osborne, I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. And I want to say this too, man, because you mentioned my other two guys, Cole Thompson and Dave Shoemate. I want to give them a massive, massive shout out because, guys, flat out, I just couldn't be doing this alone. I couldn't do it. I couldn't be doing the tour and chopping up all this content with the previews and, like, you know, the reactions on Saturdays. It's Cole and Dave that are manning the controls of that. I can't say thank you enough to them, man. Those guys have been great. They've been incredible. One of the greatest blessings of the SEC Unfiltered venture is to be surrounded by great people. It is to be surrounded by great people, and I couldn't have asked for two better guys than Cole Thompson and Dave Shoemate. And again, guys, the product you see that is SEC Unfiltered right now, it wouldn't be possible without them. It just flat out wouldn't be. So I'm thankful that while I'm on the tour and taking all these games in firsthand, I've got my guys, Dave and Cole, that are getting after it behind the scenes and chopping things up and keeping up with all the games. And it's truly a blessing, man. So Michael Anthony Osborne Sr., thank you for the kind words. And thank you for shouting out those guys, because again, we couldn't do what we're doing with SEC Unfiltered without them. So yeah, it's been incredible, man. It's just truly a blessing. Just truly a blessing. So Joe K, Dave's show on Monday nights is a good watch. Yeah, he'll be live tonight. Dave Talks Ball. And I appreciate you saying that, Joe. So yeah, he goes live Monday and Thursday nights. But yeah, it's certainly, man, we appreciate y'all tuning in. That's really, really good stuff. Dave does a fantastic job. He really does. Dave and Cole both. Dave and Cole both do. So again, we all appreciate you guys' support, man. The love means more than we can even put into words. So anyways, guys, 803-500-1485. That's 803-500-1485. Luke RJ, are you going to do a SEC Saturday night basketball tour? That would be sick. Luke RJ, transparently, that's something I'll talk with our business partners with and just see if it's in the works. I will say this, Luke RJ, to your point. Are we going to do a full-fledged tour where, like, every single weekend we're at a game? Probably not, Luke RJ. Probably not. Just because, I'll be totally honest with you. It'll be nice at some point to kind of take some weekends to catch our breath. Also, too, I don't know that it really calls for it. But Luke RJ, yes, we are going to make it a point to get to some of the top games in the SEC on the hardwood this season. Yes, that is absolutely going to be a thing. As you guys have seen, guys, us getting to these games in person and vlogging the whole thing, and like it is well worth it from so many different aspects. Also, by the way, Luke RJ, thank you for bringing that up. Thank you for bringing that up. And I know we're in the heat of football season right now. How dare I talk about round ball? But middle of next week, guys, myself and Dave Shoemate, we are going to be publishing our 2024-2025 SEC basketball season preview. So we're going to break it all down, give our predictions, projections, all that good stuff. Because, guys, I mean, basketball season is literally around the corner. Media days for basketball is this week. It's tomorrow. Tomorrow and Wednesday. They've got men's and women's media days. So, I mean, I know all the focus is on football. We get that. But SEC Unfiltered, we talk football, but we talk basketball and we talk baseball. So we're going to lock in on that as well. We're going to stay hardcore heavy on the football content. But again, with basketball season around the corner, we're going to be a source for you breaking down and previewing these games and talking all things SEC hoops. Because again, the passion's there for SEC hoops and SEC baseball, which we love. And we love it as well. And we love that you guys love it. So we love that you guys love it. Anyways, guys, 803-500-1485. It's 803-500-1485. Again, thank you so much, guys, to all of you tuning in, for the love, for the support. It means the world. It absolutely means the world. Can't say thank you enough. I do want to apologize for, I know over the last couple of weeks, we kind of been, what time are we going live? There's been some inconsistencies. I would just say this, guys, just bear with me on Mondays. I know y'all don't really care. Probably you're like, whatever, go live whenever you want. I try to do it consistently the same time every week. We're just honestly that busy. Like, I don't know how else to put it. We are honestly that busy where it's like we're knocking out all these previews. We're traveling all over the place. So just bear with us every Monday. You can catch me live. It's going to happen. But if it's not at the exact same time for weekend, just like I said, just bear with me. Just bear with me. So, yeah, Joe K., this is one of the biggest games of the season early. Texas opens the season in Vegas against Ohio State. Looking forward to seeing Trey Johnson. I'm looking forward to seeing Texas in the SEC. Ken Palm dropped their top 25, so that was interesting. Texas was in the top 25. Going to be really, really exciting, man. Texas and Oklahoma in the league on the hardwood. Really, really good stuff. Really, really good stuff. So, Michael Anthony says, Dave knows me. Is on is the gray. He's the man. Yeah, Dave's the shit. Dave's awesome. Dave's awesome. So, Ace Boogie says, the Gamecocks are a field goal away from a 5-1 record. The defense is really good. A couple heartbreakers. Sellers is good. Has a lot of work to do, but you aren't excited about the future. But aren't you excited about the future of the Gamecocks? Yeah, I mean, listen, I think South Carolina's got a lot to be excited for. I think that the question, we're looking way too far ahead, but the question next year is just going to be, hey, when you lose all those defensive pieces, can you reload and still be as good as you are on the defensive side? Because I think that's been the biggest difference, right? I mean, that front seven, what they've got on the defensive front, the way they're able to rush the passer, if you will, and get after the passer. I mean, that D line is ferocious. That D line is absolutely ferocious. They are for real. So, but I think, listen, this is a team. There's some winnable opportunities down the stretch. I do think that South Carolina, there's some big time opportunities they can win, and who knows when we get to 6-6 or 7-5. Matt Beard, 6 games in. Are my Tigers just gritty? Matt, LSU is the best, worst, good, bad, consistently inconsistent, chaotic, insane, absurd, hilarious, entertaining college football team I've ever seen, Matt. I mean, they are all over the place, man. I mean, and it's fun to watch. If you're an LSU fan, it's frustrating as all hell. You're wanting to rip your hair out. I mean, I think Garrett Nussmeier kind of encapsulates that, like what they are. I'll tell you this, by the way, on that game, Blake freaking Baker. Dude, that was his coming out party. The man is worth every penny of what they're paying him down there in the Bayou, man. To look at what LSU was just a year ago in that game against Ole Miss, and then the performance they put together against Jackson Dart and then that high-powered Ole Miss offense, And again, say what you want about Ole Miss, but don't you dare take anything away from what LSU did in that football game. You know, it's going to be Garrett Nussmeier and Kyron Lacey and the offensive guys that get the love, and certainly they deserve a lot. But the fact LSU's defense was able to keep them in that football game and put them in a position where the offense could come through and win that game late, you just can't say enough good things about Blake Baker, what he's done with that defensive transformation. Again, that to me felt like the coming out party for Blake Baker and the LSU defense and what they're going to be under his leadership. How can you not be thrilled with the hiring and ecstatic about the future with Blake Baker if you're an LSU fan after what you witnessed on Saturday night? So, I mean, Blake Baker deserves all the credit. Matt Beard says, so it's just an LSU team. All over the place. Dude, I tell you, man, again, I can't say enough good things about it. I can't say enough good things about LSU and the people and just guys. I mean, I'm listen, it's days later and I'm still at a loss for words. I mean, it's just unbelievable, man, what we're getting to experience, what we get to see. Matt Beard says, like I said a couple weeks ago, better without Perkins, unfortunately. He didn't fit the system. I was told, Matt, positionless player. Just a positionless player. You know, I mean, it's unfortunate, like you said, but just a positionless player. So, yeah. But anyways, guys, with that being said, we turn our attention to week number 8. What a slate of games we got to come. We got some great games, guys. We're going to be in Knoxville for the Tennessee-Alabama game. Cannot wait to get to Rocky Top. I mean, we've got, LSU Arkansas is a great game, right? South Carolina, Oklahoma is super intriguing. Texas, Georgia, obviously, which feels like you could argue the game of the weekend. I mean, we have got, I mean, here's the thing. Here's the question I ask, guys. SEC Unfiltered. Yours truly. Are we in store for another game that ends on the final play of the game? I almost feel like some pressure now. I'm like, dude, I got to make sure I'm going to like big-time games that end up as all-time classics. Like, I just, there's kind of some pressure, There's kind of some pressure. So we'll see. We'll see if I can carry that magic into Neyland, and if I do, it'll be a great night to be a Tennessee Vol, and I think Alabama fans will. Dude, it's so funny. My buddy Cruz from Tuscaloosa, I talked to him on Saturday night. He straight up told me, he said, Chris, for the love of God, please don't go to Knoxville. Please don't go to whatever you do, don't go to Knoxville. I hate to say it, man. I got to go. Guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. We got things to do. We got a live show at 2:00 on Texas Sports Unfiltered. We got previews to get out, guys. We are rocking and rolling 1,000 miles an hour. So we're going to go ahead and put a pin in it, guys. Again, make sure you stay tuned to everything we got going on, YouTube, podcast, social media. You already know the drill. And guys, again, thank you to everybody that tunes in, supports us weekly, shows us love, active in the comments, not active and just tunes in. Doesn't matter who you are, man. We're getting to live a dream because each and every single one of you, and I cannot say thank you enough, man. I cannot say thank you enough. Again, appreciate all of you. The call-in show weekly. You can catch us on Mondays, guys. You can catch us throughout the week as well. And you can catch us this weekend in Knoxville, Tennessee, as Tennessee takes on Alabama at Neyland. Guys, again, thank you all so much. Appreciate each and every single one of you. Have a great rest of your Monday, and we will talk to you all on the other side.